introduce yourself?
Sure, no problem. Good afternoon, Ryan. So, as Steve said, my name is David Connolly. I've just recently joined the project on a kind of temporary basis to help finalise the construction schedule to completion in a more detailed manner. So I'm looking at primarily at the future works, but I'm also having an overview and a review of the current works that's already ongoing as well. So as I said, I will hopefully meet you soon, and if you have some questions I can ask him, he can maybe answer.
Right on.
Sujin?
Hi, I'm Sujin. I've also recently joined Bagdad project. I'll be working with both Dave and Steve on the planning side.
Perfect. And Ryan, Rohit, if you don't mind, I'll introduce you guys not by your official title, but what you actually are doing. Okay. So Ryan's a project manager. He's the number 2 guy on site for Ames. However, he has been the primary source of the future schedule and maintenance of all the schedules to date. So I would say, is the most knowledgeable person from Ames in terms of the schedule. Rohit is the official planner and scheduler for the Ames group. Rohit has been primarily focused on the camp schedule until about a month, maybe 2 months ago. And Rohit, I think now you are engrossing yourself in all the Ames schedules, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, so are you still primarily on the camp only? Okay, well, there you have it in a nutshell. So Ryan's soon going to leave all the scheduling effort. He'll still be overseeing it, but there's another gentleman, Eugene. I'm not sure. I mean, I've heard he'll be full-time, he may not be full-time, so we'll just leave it at that. But Ryan, I'm sure you're aware that Chris is probably going to try to bring in a dedicated scheduler to work with Rohit. So,
yep.
Okay, and Chris is the VP for Ames at a certain Western region or whatnot. But anyways, with that said, Ryan, if you don't mind, if you could share your screen, and just the main purpose is to give David and Sujin a good background of how the schedule was structured, and the nature of all the logic ties in general, not all the ties, but how overall description, if you could provide that. And then David and Sujin may have some more questions, but could we start off with that, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So this is the future schedule. Let's break it down, kind of roll up on a WBS level on some of these.
Hey, Ryan, if you don't
Yep.
mind, I'm going to stop you real quickly. Can you go back to the activities tab there?
Yeah. Let's change my layout.
Yeah. Do you have a layout that increases the font?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So David and Sujin, Ryan's a real technophile, and he uses this from the 1960s, the Panavision, where it's like a ultra wide screen monitor. So it doesn't transfer very well in a Teams view here. So yeah, if you could just open up a layout that has font at a minimum, maybe 14. Yeah, that's more legible. That's great.
Yeah. So I'll just walk through the
Thanks.
WBS. Obviously, everything's kind of looped in under this TFS construction. And then obviously milestones, construction itself. And Steve, I believe you added in this pre and commissioning WBS. And then kind of as things changed, or when we get requests to add things to the future schedule, sometimes they'll go into this miscellaneous WBS just as kind of a placeholder, because a lot of what lives in this construction WBS would be schedules for items that are directly tied to, either floor or primarily AECOM scopes of work that they have provided us material takeoffs for, right? And, maybe some preliminary drawings or whatnot. That all lives up in this construction schedule, but occasionally you get the one-off thing that may not have, that level of development yet. So then we'll add that into that miscellaneous schedule. And then this last WBS you see is that scope removal. And this is just for things that have, previously lived in this future schedule that, may not be relevant anymore, or, may have been pulled into our current construction schedule. And then the reason why, those aren't just deleted fully is I think we still got there may be some external ties to those items. So that's kind of why the reason for, leaving maybe some of these in here, just to make sure that the logic's not lost. It's just a kind of a key to say, hey, maybe we just need to go back in and retrue some ties up.
So sorry, Ryan, you mentioned that the construction WBS was derived essentially by information received from AECOM and Fluor. Is that correct? You said you had some MTOs and drawings, etc.
Right. Yeah, and that all comes from. We'll just kind of get those piecemealed out, and I think the biggest kind of true up that would need to be done would just be to go back through, because these MTOs and these drawings kind of come out kind of, I don't know, intermittently, right? We'll have sections of new work that AECOM releases that we receive. We may get more detail on some things, but for the most part, I mean, some of these work areas or MTOs that we get are either outdated or we have new revisions to them that haven't been reflected in here yet, right? Or complete design change, or they're going back and forth on a design and we don't even know what the latest update is. So it's kind of
and
the
man hours that's in these schedules, are they based on the MTOs that you've received at that time?
A lot of the man hours would have been based on, we provided some FS pricing on a lot of these items. So the man hours reflected in there would still just be man hours plugged from, our previous FS pricing.
Okay.
But I mean, a lot of, things keep on bouncing around out here, and we don't, designs change and whatnot. So I don't know if this construction schedule isn't fully indicative of all that, but I think it's got a good, shell and structure to it, right? As far as sequencing and durations, but obviously, if we have an MTO that was issued and then, a revised MTO comes out and let's say the quantity doubled or something, well, obviously then that may end up changing logic, may end up changing duration, all that stuff.
Okay. I mean, from myself, I've been on the project now 2 weeks, as I said earlier on, and primarily been tasked to look at this future stuff, future schedule, the future scope. But my understanding of future scope is stuff that's not been awarded yet and stuff that is not being currently worked on. But for me to understand if all the scope is currently in that schedule, I'm looking back through the if you want to call it the current schedule, to make sure that all the scope is captured somewhere. Because if it's not captured in the current, then it needs to be captured in the future. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I'm trying to make sure that all the scope is captured somewhere, and that's where I'm finding my difficulty at the moment. So, and I do like the way this future one is structured. And actually, I've got a copy of the WBS on Friday from my team here. So.
Yep, and that's how we've set up this construction schedule mainly, right? Just in alignment with what AECOM's prescribing as the WBS for the most part.
Okay. But where are you based? Are you based on site here, or are you somewhere else?
Yeah, no, I'm on site.
Okay, so I'm here this week actually, so maybe we can get together probably tomorrow
Yeah,
now. If you've got some time, we can go through it together, if that's okay.
Yeah, right on.
Perfect, thank you.
And really, that's as far as the structure goes. Obviously, we have these, but I know, Steve, you've been dealing directly with adding those and tweaking those pre and commissioning items up. And then MISC, again, just a handful of things that we may have some overlap here with, based on what we receive in new, MTOs or new packages from AECOM, right? Like conveyor corridor, that was added a while back. And then, obviously, we have a higher level of detail on that now, but I think it's still in the process of being revised. And then same thing here, just some things aren't needed. Just put that in that scope removal section,
Okay.
just as a way to maintain some of the ties.
Okay.
Just opening up this next level of WBS on the construction side. Starter dam. So this is one that was in here. I think the only items we have in here should be, instrumentation and whatnot. And I believe these were only left in here for, just because I have some, there's still ties existing between, maybe some FMI schedules or AECOM engineering items. But for the most part, all the items relating to starter dam have been captured in our starter dam schedule.
Sorry, where is it? You say a starter dam schedule. Where is that located?
That's located under the AIM section of the cloud. You'll see in our current schedules, you'll see 4 schedules in there. It'll be
Yeah, got it.
Yep.
I've got it, yeah. Okay, I need to
So I
have a
think
look at that.
probably the first step is just making sure we have all those, all these ties remediated in here and make sure they're tied to correct things. And then as far as the next WBS, which is 2820, I started kind of breaking this out by, scope, right?
Yeah.
Civil, piping, structure, mechanical, electrical. I got to a couple of these and it was just I don't think I finished the reorganization of some of these items. But I think what I was getting at is just because AECOM will release their MTOs in the same structure where you get civil, piping, structural, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation. So I was just really trying to copy over, MTO to a future schedule, because I think that's the highest level of visibility we'd have right now, right? Without dissecting minor details of the logic and breaking things out a certain way, right? I think that just helped encompass the overall. And then again, with some of this underdrain work, we do have some of this stuff has now been awarded to us of Seepage Pond A Civil. We have in Ames's current scope, or in Ames's starter dam schedule, we have the scope of work for the excavation and nothing past the excavation for at least Seepage Pond A. And then same thing with this underdrain system. We have current things in our existing contract, and in that existing starter dam schedule, such as, like, let's just look at underdrain A1, for example. I pretty much have everything up to excavation already captured in the starter dam schedule, right? So the only things needed, and this isn't captured in the schedule now, but this is currently AIM scope. It would be this termination berm. So I think the only things remaining outstanding that technically should live in this future schedule would be, general fill for A1 underdrain, subgrade filter sand, filter protection layer. That's kind of the meat and potatoes. But I think if we backtrack to RFPs, like, I know that balance of earthwork, I would really lean on that RFP to get the details of remaining scope, because I haven't looked at it too in depthly, but I know Ben Sullivan on our end's leading that effort up, but I think when in doubt, lean on that RFP that FMI provided us for Balance Earthworks, and that'll help kind of align. Okay, here are the AECOM MTOs. Here are the obviously the remaining work that needs to be complete as far as the civil side goes.
Okay.
And same thing with under drains A7, 8, and 9. Just don't have that scope awarded yet. Then we get into, piping, Rockville Toad AMA, another one where you can just reference that RFP, right, to see what's been included, what's been excluded. Ames has the excavation of Rockville Toadam A in theirs, which I think is already taken out of here, right? Same thing with the piping, structural, mechanical, electrical, whole future. I think this is probably the way to go when structuring future schedule. Obviously, in here you get down to some of these, and it's just broken out by certain areas, and then all the areas are then encompassed within that WBS, right? So I think all the information's there, all the information's split out. It's just not, the WBSs just don't match up currently.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. And I like the way you've structured this, and I know you're saying all the information's there. That's where I'm struggling at the moment, is where is that information?
Right.
I'm still trying to locate that information, so maybe I said when we can get together, we can you can show where some of this information is. But I said, I like this, the future one, the way it's done by WBS and by areas, is how we can mirror that. I don't want to change structures, but how can we mirror that in the current schedules? And I think the only way to do that is by using a code rather than changing the WBS, the physical Primavera WBS.
Yeah, and then Ben, if you're having a hard time getting MTOs, I know Bennett Croft on the FMI side, he's been a big help in kind of helping or making sure that we, are getting all the up-to-date AECOM MTOs and whatnot. So he'd be a good point of contact for you to reach out to if you do want to reference all those material takeoffs.
Yeah, I'd like to have a look at them, just to, obviously, if we're trying to put a schedule together without having design, at least if we've got something to refer against.
Right, yeah.
As a basis, if we're going to put durations down, we need to have some kind of basis to it. So it gives an understanding of the level of effort required.
Yeah, and then these you'll notice when you're running through that schedule and you have those MTOs side by side, you'll realize that makes a lot more sense now, because all these activities are just based on line items out of the MTOs.
Yeah.
Right? I would say for a majority, some of them know where we've been asked to add, a higher level of detail or something. We may split MTO items up just to, just to structure the sequencing, to a higher level of detail. But you'll notice, like going back, like if we were to pull the South Cyclone feed MTOs, well, all the quantities that we got are, all the durations and whatnot are figured off of that MTO.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be good to see them.
Yeah, and it kind of just copies the same structure going out through these areas, right? Got reclaimed water, temporary facilities, just all in alignment with how AECOM has structured that WBS. And I don't know if you want to hit on pre-commissioning, Steve, but
I think we're okay on pre-commissioning. Yeah.
Okay. And then, like I said previously, everything that lives in this miscellaneous WBS was just hey, we need to have some sort of tie for this activity that may exist in a procurement schedule or whatnot that isn't already existing in the future schedule. That's where we've been putting those, and then just not really deleting our activities or WBS, just moving it down to that scope removal WBS.
Yeah. Okay, good. But again, if you have got some time tomorrow, it'd be good to sit with, because where I'm at the moment, I've been struggling to kind of comprehend what the scope is. I've got little bits of information here, there, and everywhere, and I've got some drawings, but it's to bring it all together. So I got a WBS document the other day, as I've said earlier, and I've been going through that, and I want to go through. I'm assuming that is the complete scope of work, if you want to call it that. I want to go through. I want to try and go through each of those, and then map it to all the schedules. So then, and I can then say, okay, that particular scope is in that schedule. That particular scope is in that schedule. Part of it is in that one. Part of it is in that one. And then I'm going to end up with, okay, 90% of the scope that I've identified is covered in the schedule. Is 10% missing or whatever. I just want to try and figure out what we have and what we don't have.
Right.
And then the next thing is what we do have, then what level of detail do we have, and do we need more detail, and so on, and where do we get that detail, whether it be MTOs or whatever. Again, if you have got time to sit with me tomorrow, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. I'm here till Friday, so we'll catch up tomorrow. Figure out what time's best for yourself.
Right on. Yeah. I usually hang out here at the site trailers down off of gate 7. So if you want to come over here, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is, but
staffing team or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Whatever works for you, David.
Sure, no worries. I'll figure out where that is, and then we can take it from there.
1040. But yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just making sure you got a full list of those MTOs, right? The revisions of those MTOs, any drawings that may add additional detail and, regards to sequencing and logic.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
I think that's kind of the gist of it without getting crazy in the weeds on all these all these, sub WBSs, but. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Appreciate that.
Right on.
Steve, you have anything else to know?
Do you have any other questions, David, that for the moment, or?
I think not right at this minute. I think Ryan seems to be the man that's got a lot of answers, and he's got a lot of this information here already. So I think when we get together, I can get a bit more information as we're going through it. It certainly will help.
Sounds good.
And then, like I said, Ben Sullivan's working through that balance of earthworks RFP. So he'll also be able to kind of assist and answer questions.
Ryan, could you make sure that in the schedule that we code it with that balance of earthwork code so we could easily extract it somehow?
Yeah, we sent that. I'm trying to pull up the. Find that document Ben sent. So Ben sent this over, and I think this is what, after going through it, these are the scopes,
Mhm.
all the AECOM scopes that are included in that balance of earthworks, and then that some of these floor items as well, just broken out by engineer.
Yeah, I was referring to the code we have, right? The SO code under there, the service order activity code. If you tag it with the balance of earthworks code until we get an actual SO number.
Yeah, I'm just getting. What's the? Because I know the future schedule is taken out of the Ames thing. I just want to see what the coordination or what the plan is on some of this
Oh,
with the
absolutely.
expectation.
Yeah, let me know.
This PDF that I'm sharing on the screen kind of gives a good lay of the land, and I think everything's pretty transparent in that schedule. If if David's open to adding a SO code, just thinking of how to make things easier.
I think it would be a lot more efficient if you, because you know it inside and out, just code it.
Yeah, but I
Would be
also,
probably the easiest. Yeah.
I'm aware, Steve, but I also don't really have, the time to stop everything and add a bunch of SO codes in here. Just coming from my
No, it's just, well, it's just that one SO code, right?
right.
Yeah. Well, it's because we constantly get call outs to what's a timeline for the balance of Earth, balance of Earth work. So I'm kind of stuck because I can't, it's all over the place. So I hear you, but you're going to get the work. So this is actually, you're going to own this part of that schedule, of that future schedule. And we have to think about how are we going to represent it in your current schedule, or, because it has to become part of the baseline going forward too.
Yeah, 10-4. I think I still got a little confusion, but we can go back and see what we can add in.
Okay. Yeah, leave that up to you. I mean, you could add it into the current schedule or repurpose activities in the future schedule. We can move it into the current schedule, whichever way works for you. But just be prepared. We're probably going to re-baseline here again soon after David creates a more expanded detailed construction schedule. And with the ECI creating an expanded detailed construction schedule as well, a determination is going to be made which schedule we use, or a hybrid of the two, or whatever that decision is going to be. That's then probably going to become another trigger for a rebaseline again.
10-4.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Arnold,
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or anything like that? Or otherwise, we'll just adjourn.
We can touch on this tomorrow, Ryan, just to look at the path forward. I have no problems doing anything if needed. But again, you know this like the back of your hand at the moment. So, as I said, we can discuss this tomorrow as well.
Yep, 10-40.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Cheers, Steve. Thanks.
Bye.